Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing a Porsche 911 Turbo S. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Porsche Salt Lake for giving me some time with this car. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Matt Hendry. And if there happens to be a pre-owned or a new Porsche that you have been looking for, just reach out to Matt. He can put you on a list if they don't have something already available. More than happy to help out with that. Anyways, let's get right into it. So in modern Porsches, you can't really see the engine anymore, just a couple of fans here. But anyways, let's talk about this engine. 3.8 liter turbocharged flat 6-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed dual clutch automatic. Now it puts out 640 horsepower and then 590 pound-feet of torque. You have to remember that is Porsche horsepower and Porsche torque, so it feels a whole lot crazier than the power figures suggest on paper. And this is always fun to put down. You just kind of plop it into place. Now at this point I want to show you guys the key fob here, which looks like a car. That's kind of a cool Porsche thing. But this has the opening function for the frunk. And that's one of the nice things about the 911, right? This is ultimately, you know, a sports car slash supercar depending on what package you get with it. And so having some storage up front in what is typically not a practical type of vehicle is always a good thing. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So taking a look at the hood here, it's got that distinctive 911 design where it's raised there on either side behind the headlights, and then it kind of slopes in here on the center. Of course, you got the Porsche emblem front and center. And I've always been a fan of the headlight design here with the Porsches. They just look so clean. And then look at the little turn signal down below. Pretty cool looking with that as well. But unlike a lot of other modern cars, not a super busy design, just has that classically beautiful look. So we do have a staggered setup, 255 by 35 by 20 in the front, and then 315 by 30 by 21 in the rear. Now taking a look at the wheel design here, you can see you've got the silver with the blacked out element, and you can see with the yellow there for the brake caliper, which signifies we got the carbon ceramics, right? Always want more stopping power with something that has as much power as this. And then I love the Porsche little gas cap there on the fender. Got our 911 Turbo S badge down below. And then you guys can see carbon fiber there on the mirror cap. And that's another cool thing about the Turbo S there, the intake. But anywho, here is your full side profile. Again, just look how sleek this is. Now I do want to quickly show you guys up top. We've got the carbon fiber roof. And then look at this spoiler here as well. This is actually gloss black, but really beautiful looking. And then I love the smoked out design with the taillights here. You can see the Turbo S badge down below. And here's a quick look at the lights themselves. Pretty cool with the light bar effect. And look at those exhaust tips. This car is just so aggressive, but then again, it's not too much what's happening with the design details. Now taking a look at the door panel, we've got really high quality leather here. You can see the stitching that goes throughout, and then I love this that goes to the handle, and then that beautiful trim it continues all over the door panel. Of course, we have our window controls, mirror adjustments, mirrors do power fold in, memory seat functionality as well. Just a quick look at the mirror itself. And then look at the front seats here. Again, just really high quality materials. You can see all the adjustments there on the side, all 2 million of them. Open up the front and then the kind of little cover there in the back. And then it's so cool with the key, or how you turn it on. It looks like a little key here, but that's for the ignition. Got the 2-pedal layout. And then I'll just quickly show you guys the rear seats. So you just pull that forward. You can access the rear seats. Again, just like 911 since the beginning of time, you pretty much use the rear seat area as storage. I mean, you can technically fit people back there, but it is going to be a little bit more on the cramped side. So taking a look at the steering wheel, really premium trim all around. Got the paddles there on the back, and I like this, kind of like the matte finish on the carbon fiber. And then we got our drive mode select on the steering wheel. You can see the other practical controls, but not too busy. And then you've got all of the stocks here on the back in normal Porsche fashion. Now this new gauge cluster is certainly fancy. I mean, of course, we've got RPMs front and center. You can see all the side gauges. Now I will say from a driving perspective, you can't really see the two side gauges when you're just sitting normal. I mean, that's something that's been in existence since this new 992 generation. But overall, really clean design, and because you've got those screens and everything, you can scroll through and see different bits of info, and kind of functions as like a virtual cockpit in a way, which is cool. Now this does come with a 360 camera system. We've got trajectory lines that turn out the back. You got that bird's eye view as well. Really good resolution, which is nice, again, for a car that's as expensive as these are and low to the ground. So it's good to have. Easy to use infotainment system. It's pretty quick to respond with the different screens. Notice with the drive modes, the exhaust mode, and you can even extend the spoiler, which is pretty cool. But it's got all the modern tech nowadays. You've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and so it's, you know, a 911 in the modern era. Really nice trim all across the dash. Of course, we got the sport chrono clock, which is always cool to see. And then speaking of nice trim on the dash, again, that kind of like matte finish. And then nice trim. All the trim here is very tight and feels very premium. And then you can see here for the suspension, to adjust it, you've got the stability control hazard lights for the exhaust. You've got that to raise and lower the front end, again, low to the ground, so it's nice to have. And we do have some physical buttons for like the climate. This has dual zone climate, which I don't think it needs it because it's not a huge car, but it's a nice feature to have. And then this also, on the luxury side of things, has heated and ventilated seats. And yeah, don't worry, I won't forget about the shifter. We got the little automatic shaver shifter is what some people call it. And then again with that matte finish there, parking brake. Center console, not massive, but you know, gets the job done. Again, really nice trim. And then of course got a premium headliner here. So all the touch points, everything you look at just feels very high quality. Now, just like most Porsches, these are very, very customizable, so the pricing is going to fluctuate depending on options, but these Turbo S's nowadays are over $300,000 when you really load them up. So let's sum things up. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. And then hopefully that's a good view for you guys at the back. It's good visibility for a supercar. And again, I do consider the Turbo S to be a supercar because of the performance this has. And, you know, this, I feel like the Turbo S, it's such, you know, there's other manufacturers that now use the Turbo S nameplate, like Mazda uses it on the new CX-70 and CX-90. But with Porsche, it means like a lot. When you hear Turbo S, you know it's a crazy car. So it's got the heritage, it's got the name, and it's got the performance. I think we can just say this is a supercar. I'm sure some people won't agree with me, but you know, it is what it is. First thing we're gonna do is actually do the front end. Such a nice feature to have. Such a nice feature to have so that you don't have to worry about damaging the front end. Aside from that, these seats are really comfortable. Porsche seats are definitely firm, but I think that's good because it kind of forces you to have like good posture. So it leads to a much more comfortable experience. So I'm just taking it slow, just to make sure. Now when it comes to the ride, the damping is really good for a performance car. So like on this type of pavement where you've got all these bumps and undulations and everything, in a lot of performance cars, they get kind of crashy with the suspension. Like you pretty much just have to go super slow. Not here in the 911. The damping's very, very impressive on that front. But you do feel things, right? It's a sports car, so it's gonna be a firmer ride. But it's still, I would say, for, I mean, you know, in terms of supercars and supercar performance, it's definitely on the luxe side when it comes to the ride quality. Now this engine and this transmission, fantastic, and that's why this is the most daily drivable supercar. Is engine, transmission, I think, is a big part of it, because dual clutches can be kind of, you know, they're smoother than single clutches, obviously, but they can be kind of jerky. This is not whatsoever. It's very smooth at both high speeds and low speeds. And so you kind of forget, right, about the driving part of things, which is good, right? You don't have to think like, oh man, I better, you know, come up to a stop at this speed or else the car's gonna get lurchy, or that. You don't have to think about that. You just drive. We're gonna pop it into the Sport Plus. Definitely gets more aggressive once you pop into that Sport Plus setting. And what I will say is the sound that this makes, I think it's a great level. It's not obnoxious, but you do get nice sounds from it. Just look how smooth that is. Super quick with the shifts, very smooth. Definitely in this suspension, in this setting, the suspension definitely firm. Definitely firm. Yeah, and these brakes, they're really progressive. It's not, again, there's no jerkiness with this car. That's something that you get with Porsche that you don't necessarily get with other automakers when they put, you know, when they do a dual clutch, when they do carbon ceramics. You'll get some lurchiness with the transmission, you get some jerkiness with the brakes. Not here. It's all very well tuned, very smooth. And yeah, once you hit the boost in this thing, oh my goodness, that just gave me a head rush. It is crazy. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. What this feels like is, you feel like you've got tons of torque and tons of power right off the bat, and then it gets like full boost, and then it just, oh sorry, let me get around this. Anyways, full boost, and then it just rips your head off to red line. It's like, wow, this is a really fast car. And then it's like, and kind of like an EV. Once it hits full boost, it reminds me of EVs with their acceleration. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But what I'd say is it's way more exciting than any EV because of the sound you get out of the engine. And then also because of the thrill of waiting for that boost to hit. It's like, you know it's gonna hit, and then it finally hits, and it's just, like I said, it's just mind-blowing. But yeah, Porsche 911 Turbo S, the best daily drivable supercar. It's a car that, like I said, you can drive every single day. You can have a ton of fun with it. And I mean, these have been shown to, I mean, people have tons of miles on these. So you also have that like reliability aspect, which I feel like people don't talk about with supercars, but I think that's important, is that something like this has some level of reliability so that you can, because if something's not reliable, you can't daily drive it. So that's another thing to consider with Porsche, is the just look it up. It's, you know, Porsche wins awards for being the most reliable, or one of the most reliable brands on a very regular basis. But let me know what you guys think about the Turbo S here.